Welcome to our AI News Roundup. Today's October 24th, 2024. We're going to deep dive into 4 stories that have the AI community buzzing.
Yeah, it's really a lot going on.
There is legal battles, Apple's jumping into the AI game, new tools to stunt AI content, and creative professionals pushing back.
Sounds like a lot to cover.
It is. So let's get right to it. First up, we're going inside OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT. Imagine, you're a researcher.
Right.
You're working on cutting-edge AI. You believe it could change the world. But then you start to have second thoughts.
Oh, interesting.
That's Suchir Balaji.
Okay.
He's a former OpenAI researcher, and he's making some bold claims.
What's the story there?
So Balaji was really involved in developing GPT-4, collecting data, all that. Initially, he saw AI as a potential solution to big problems.
Okay, yeah, lots of people do.
But when ChatGPT was released commercially, turning point. He's basically saying OpenAI crossed the line.
Okay, and what is he arguing?
He says their use of copyrighted data to train the models violates fair use.
Oh, wow, that's a big one.
Huge. He thinks it could actually harm the internet.
Really?
Yeah. Creating a system where AI just regurgitates old content instead of new ideas.
I see. So stifling true creativity and originality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what's this whole fair use debate about? Because OpenAI says they're relying on legal precedent. Their technology's transformative.
Right. That's their argument, that it benefits society ultimately.
Even legal experts are divided on this.
Oh, yeah, definitely. You've got Mark Lemley, a Stanford law professor. He argues that most AI stuff is different enough from the data.
To be transformative.
Right. But then you've got Balaji. He's got a whole mathematical analysis, challenges that view.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. He argues that AI outputs aren't really novel enough to be transformative.
Wow.
He even suggests that, since these models mimic the data, they're competing with the works they learn from.
Huh. That's a good point. So it's a complex battle. What are the implications of all this?
Well, Balaji's stance has led to calls for stricter regulations on AI.
Makes sense.
And no surprise, OpenAI is facing lawsuits, including one from the New York Times.
Copyright infringement.
Yep.
It really makes you think, where's the line between innovating and respecting creators' rights?
It's a tough one.
Definitely. Speaking of pushing boundaries, let's move on to Apple. They just released a beta of their operating systems packed with new AI features.
Yeah, Apple's been pretty quiet on the AI front compared to Google or Microsoft.
True, but this is a big splash. Image Playground, Visual Intelligence, Genmoji, and ChatGPT integration.
Wow.
With Siri and writing tools, too. Big leap for a company known for being minimalist with tech, right?
Yeah, it's a big shift.
Let's break it down. Image Playground, what is it?
So it's Apple's version of AI image generation, but with a twist. It's not about those photorealistic images like some tools.
Okay.
Image Playground is more about artistic styles, animation, illustration, graphic design.
So unleashing creativity, not just mimicking reality.
Exactly. Then you've got visual intelligence, which is super powerful. Imagine scanning a QR code, summarizing a document,
Right.
even pulling info from Google's knowledge base or ChatGPT, all from your iPhone.
Like a research assistant in your pocket. And it wouldn't be Apple without something fun.
Right.
What are Genmojis all about?
Genmojis take emoji creation to a whole new level. Imagine personalized emojis based on descriptions, even your own photos.
That's cool. Seems like they're making AI user-friendly. But like with any new tech, there are questions about data privacy, right?
Of course, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how Apple addresses those given their history with privacy.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's shift to something crucial with all this AI content. Knowing what's real, that's where DeepMind's SynthID comes in.
SynthID, huh? So it's about spotting AI-generated stuff.
Exactly. It's a watermarking tool. You can embed it in all sorts of AI content. Images, audio, text, even video.
Wow, that's a wide range.
It's invisible to us, but algorithms can detect it.
So like a secret code that says made by AI.
Exactly. How does it work, though?
Let's take text, for example. SynthID tweaks the probability scores of the words the AI chooses. We can't see it, but it creates a pattern.
Algorithms can recognize.
Right. Proof that it was AI generated.
Pretty neat, but doesn't that limit creativity if it's so easy to spot?
DeepMind addressed that in their Nature paper.
They did.
Yeah. They say SynthID doesn't mess with the quality or creativity. It's about transparency, not restriction. And they've open sourced it.
Through the Google Responsible Generative AI Toolkit.
That's right. Anyone can use and build on it.
Big deal. Where else is SynthID being used?
All over Google. Gemini, their big language model. Lyria for music, Imagen for images, even Veo for video.
Wow, they're really going all in on this.
It's about trust and
Speaking of pushing back against AI, let's talk about our final story. It's about the tension between AI innovation and creators' rights.
Yeah, this is getting a lot of attention, and for good reason.
Mm.
Over 10,500 creative professionals signed an open letter about this.
Wow, that's a lot.
Big names, too, like Tom York, Julianne Moore, Kazuo Ishiguro. They're worried about how their work is used in AI development.
Without their permission, right?
Exactly. It's a direct challenge to that fair use argument we were talking about.
So they're saying, hey, you can't just scrape the internet for data and not consider us.
That's it. They say it's a threat to their livelihoods, to their creativity.
What's being done about it?
Well, there are lawsuits against AI companies alleging copyright infringement. Content owners want compensation. It's a battleground.
And it's only going to get more intense.
It's a kind of like a huge shift, right? Like, how do
Yeah.
we balance this amazing AI potential with, protecting the people creating the stuff it learns from?
It is. It's a tough one. And it'll be really interesting to see what happens with those lawsuits, how the courts rule.
Yeah.
But it's not just legal battles. Some publishers are trying something different.
Oh, like what?
They're actually negotiating with the AI developers for data access.
So instead of fighting, they're trying to find common ground, make sure creators are compensated.
Exactly. It's a more collaborative approach. Maybe that's a path to a more, sustainable AI ecosystem.
Yeah, definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely. Hey, let's circle back to SynthID for a sec. We talked about how it works with text, but you mentioned it can be used with other types of content too, right?
Yeah, for sure. Audio, images, even video. It's like it's addressing this whole issue of like what's real, what's AI generated.
So how does it work for audio? Does it embed some kind of secret sound?
It's actually pretty clever. So they take the audio waveform and they turn it into a spectrogram. It's a visual representation of the frequencies over time.
Okay, I'm following.
And then the watermark goes directly into that spectrogram.
So it's not adding a sound, it's manipulating the visual side of it.
Exactly. So even if you mess with the audio, like compress it into an MP3 or speed it up, the watermark is still detectable.
Wow, that's pretty cool. And they're using this with Lyria, Google's AI music generator.
Yeah. Imagine listening to a song and knowing for sure if a human composed it or if AI was involved.
That's wild. What about images and video? How's SynthID used there?
So for images, the watermark goes right into the pixels, and for video, into the individual frames.
Makes sense. But what if someone tries to alter those things?
That's the beauty of SynthID. It's built to be tough. Like you can crop an image, add filters, the watermark is still there.
No getting around it. Sounds like Google's serious about this responsible AI thing.
They are. They're making SynthID available to all those Vertex AI customers using their image and video generation models, Imagen and Veo.
Okay.
And they're even putting it into their AI creative tools, ImageFX and VideoFX.
Proactive steps. That's good to see.
And for the rest of us, there's that About This Image feature in Google Search and Chrome.
Right.
It can spot the SynthID watermarks now, so anyone can check if an image was made using Google's AI tools.
That's a lot of power for users to sort through all this AI-generated content.
Transparency and control, that's the idea.
Makes sense. Okay, let's jump back to Apple for a bit. We talked about their ChatGPT integration, but I'm still kind of curious how it actually works in practice.
Yeah, it's a pretty sleek setup. Instead of just, adding ChatGPT as a separate app, they're weaving it right into what they already have.
So like with Siri and writing tools.
Exactly. So say you ask Siri something and it doesn't have an answer. It can use ChatGPT to pull in more info.
And with writing tools, you can use ChatGPT to generate text, like on a regular ChatGPT platform.
Yeah, that's right. And they've even given writing tools access to ChatGPT's image generation capabilities.
Wait, so you can create text and images all within Apple's writing tools. Do you need a ChatGPT account for that?
What's interesting? You don't need an account.
Really?
But there are limitations if you don't have one. It's like they're giving you a sneak peek, then hoping you'll sign up for the full thing.
Smart move. But users will have a choice, right? Whether they enable these features.
Oh, for sure. Apple's big on user control, remember. You got to opt in to those Apple Intelligence features in settings, then specifically allow the ChatGPT stuff.
Okay, good to know. So what about visual intelligence? That was another thing that stood out in Apple's announcement.
Right. Visual intelligence is basically like having a super-powered AI assistant on your iPhone. It can scan QR codes, copy and summarize text, all that good stuff.
So like a way better Google Lens.
You could say that. But it's even more than image recognition. It uses Google's knowledge base for shopping searches, and it can even access ChatGPT for info on different topics.
Combining forces, huh?
That's right. More power, richer experience. Now, remember how we were talking about those creative professionals pushing back against AI? Well, some creators are taking a different approach. They're embracing it.
Instead of fighting it.
Exactly. We're seeing artists, musicians, writers all experimenting with AI tools to boost their creativity, try new things.
That's cool. So some are collaborating with the developers, pushing
Yeah.
the boundaries together. Yeah, it's fascinating, right? Some are worried, some are diving right in. It feels like AI is really changing the whole creative landscape.
Definitely, yeah. And I think it's important to remember, it's not about replacing artists.
Right.
It's about giving them new tools, new ways to express themselves.
Absolutely. Okay, let's circle back to OpenAI and Suchir Balaji for a sec. We talked about his fair use argument, but OpenAI has a different take on things, right?
They do, yeah. They're pretty firm on their stance that using public data is protected under fair use. They point to legal precedents and all that.
Right.
And they emphasize that, ChatGPT and those models, they're not just copying, they're creating something new.
A legal standoff, basically.
It is. And it's going to be important for the whole industry, however it turns out. It's about setting those boundaries, figuring out where AI and copyright intersect.
Yeah, some big precedents could be
Yeah.
set. But it's not just the legal stuff, right? There's that bigger question of responsible AI.
Absolutely. And things like DeepMind's SynthID, that watermarking, that's a good step. Knowing what's human, what's machine, that helps with authenticity, plagiarism, even misinformation.
Gives us some tools to navigate this new AI world.
Exactly. And open sourcing it, that's a good sign. It's about being transparent, working together to figure this all out.
Definitely. AI is changing fast, but ultimately it's on us, right? To shape how it's used, ethically, responsibly.
I agree. Yeah. And it's got to be a conversation that involves everyone. Developers, policymakers, researchers, the creators, everyone.
It's not set in stone. We're the ones shaping the future of AI.
Powerful way to put it.
Well, I think that about wraps up our deep dive into the latest AI news. Legal battles, new innovations, tools for responsible AI, and the creative side of things.
Hopefully everyone's learned something new.
Thanks for joining us. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep asking questions.